Hey guys, so Nico Knight here, or Calypso. This video is a little different than my usual ones. This is a kind of like style exercise I did, during furality because I was bored between meets and I was also at work technically. So I decided, okay, I like designing clothing. I like doing concept design. I like figuring out how things work, how different cultures, how different groups of people, like stuff like that, themes work together. So I decided to make a like fake, like like how people make like their own Splatfests. I thought like, oh, let's do it on Furality thing. So I did this. Basically, I took some random theme generators and stuff, and I messed around with it, just kind of see like what words I got and stuff, and I kind of got mafia locked, and then also like I kind of wanted like more like nude because in the past years the themes colors have been pretty like we've gotten blues, we've gotten purples, we've gotten red, oranges and stuff, and yellows, but I haven't got like red, greens, or like maroons, so I thought like do neutrals and then like pops of red and green. Plus I also realized cicadas match those colors, and I think cicadas are really cool, so yeah. But the inspiration for this is like 1920s, like kind of like newsies, like something that's like a lot of fun. I also wanted to like mess around and see, okay, what if we included species that have like different body parts that make some of these outfits harder to do? Because I've noticed with a lot of furality things, a lot of like t-shirts and like closed tops, which are great for like the canines, the cats, the dinosaurs, the lizard folk, like people like that don't have extra appendages, but for like dragons, winged creatures, griffins, stuff like that, birds, it's a lot harder to, get that fitting on. I mean, yeah, you can just slap it on the model, but like logistically for me, my goal with this was to, okay, how would these species fit with the culture? And I'm using the term culture because that's kind of how I'm coming at this POV wise, because I like to that stuff out, as I said before. But so I kind of like sat down and figured out, okay, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna break this down? that type of thing. At this point, I didn't really have a story. I was just kind of laying out, like, okay, I know what main pieces I want. I want baggy pants. I want large coats, waist chains, lace. Hats are a big thing. Layers, pearls are seen as really important. Lots of accessories. The one character that I can definitely say that gave me a headache was the hyena on the end. I could not, like, the color-wise took me a while, and then figuring out the whole, like, her outfit was annoying, because I also wanted to go, like, different, like more masculine, more feminine, and then more, like, in between, which obviously isn't necessary, but I thought it'd be kind of, like, fun to see that, especially because I'm going, again, off, like, 1920s, 1900s type stuff, but honestly, it was like a lot of fun. Like a lot of these, I just kind of realized, like, oh hey, they have drop waists with like a lot of the women's fashion, so let's implement that on a lot of these. I like waist chains IRL, so some of these details did bleed in from my own personal sense of style. I like trinkets. I like walking around with bells, like, because I've had habit of sneaking up on coworkers before, and so I'm like, let's accessorize in a way that people will know where I am at all times, that type of thing. I mean, but some ideas I did have didn't end up like making it through. Like you see I have a seamstress's belt saved on here for the inspiration board, and I just couldn't figure out how to get that to lay out how I wanted. But, and you can also see, like, how I'm playing with colors, too. I want each one to lean more into a different color palette. With red, yes, red is the main focus, but you still want, like, okay, more maroon in this one, more green in that one. Here you can see some of my struggle with the hyena. Honestly, I do think the wrap dress jacket would look great in, like, a 3D model. I just could not get it to look right in the sense of, like, a, 2D space, because I didn't exactly want to put all that work in, because I was at work, and I wanted it done before I left for the day. So I was just kind of like messing around, like figuring out like, okay, do I want to do a full dress? Do I want to do a tank top? I ended up setting on a tank top and a lace skirt that you kind of see the hole in the back. Basically, it wraps around, goes under the tail, so you see where it drips down. It's like kind of like gatherings or whatever, I think that's the word. On the back, in the drawing, it isn't very visual, but that's kind of what it is. I also noticed that the lace has details that look like the cicada wings, which I really like. The kind of the whole story this has is really loose. It's basically this key was found that for whatever reason has time travel properties, and basically this key allows them to time travel and whatnot. And so the city just kind of ends up in this like middle zone of like the 1920s. You have these buildings from modern eras, buildings from the past. You have like what would be shown like different fashion would be like, you know, baseball caps might show up, or modern watches, old like kilts and stuff. Like you could really mix and match like how people's outfits would look, but in general the main themes would be pearls, lace, key motifs. You want to go for that 1920s vibe, but you don't have to kind of like stay within it. But because like this like kind of like time travel, like by the sea thing. Another thing why I selected pearls was not only because in the reference material it was prominent, but I also thought it'd be interesting if this city was by the sea, very affluent, you know. Pearls back then, around that, like even then, like a little before, were seen as very like you were wealthy if you had pearls. And so like the idea of like, okay, there'd be fake pearls going around, you know, like so people can look more rich, more better off, you know, and also have like that type of thing. Like keys are seen as this very like important thing. Cicadas are very symbolic because of like that whole like rebirth and time travel thing, like, and just that kind of like vibe. I thought it'd be like really fun. I have thought of doing lobby concept art or like stuff like that, because I have like an idea for like going on like the tram system and pulling into like this like city area with like 3 main like hangout areas and like this middle square and like stuff like that, and like having like the dealers then be like this like this like alley styled way, so it looks like this like market, the meetup spot being like, you know, type of roof, stuff like that, you know, stuff like that. Like, and just in general, it's stuff that like for me as a concept are really interesting, because like you haven't seen, like for most part, at least from my experience with furality, you have dreams, you have lots of fairy fantasy. I mean, yeah, you got like the first few cons was like the 2000s, then you had the desert one, which was more like sci-fi, but you haven't really had anything that's like old science fiction, like old movies, or like a cityscape, which I thought would be really interesting, especially because then you can have like people go on like fire escapes, you can have like shop, like that quote unquote shops, billboards. I thought would be a really fun thing, like showing like, okay, having a billboard for the DJ event that looks like the how old news stations used to have like those flipboard thingies where like, oh, this is the headline, like showing, okay, who's playing now, who's playing next, or like stuff like that, like, because that for me just really is like a really cool, interesting, and again, playing with the whole like multiple time period thing, having an old video store from like the 80s, 90s, like having with all those TVs on the thing, like, you know how old movies had them, showing like the stream and like stuff like that, just playing around with, okay, how do we keep it like oldie themed, but then bring in pops of like modern, or, you know, way past things, like stuff like that, because for me, like finding a way to make that all cohesive is a lot of fun, but you know, it's probably like too ambitious of an idea. That's why I am not on the furality team. Yeah, I'm still learning and stuff, but you know, like I just like playing with those ideas. I like I like even giving problems, and I like solving them, because that's why I get really excited when people give me, oh, I want you to design this character, and I'm like, do you have references? Do you have these? I like seeing people like pour out, like, this is my idea for this character, this is how they articulate themselves and whatnot and all that. But you know, I mean, that's why I redesign my characters every few months, at least I used to, because for me, I always like evolving and growing like the characters I play with, I toy with, how they view the world and stuff, because that's just me. I mean, you know, that's why I like illustrations, because again, it shows you these characters in their element, who they are and stuff. But I think I've rambled enough. As you can tell, the art is already done. I just kind of extended the video just so I could articulate my whole idea and stuff. But yeah, some notes I do want to mention is the Avali's waistcoat has buttons on the shoulders so they can clip them on, the waistcoat on, even with the wings. And that's just about it. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, you're super cool. And yeah, stay creative and enjoy yourselves.